Okay, hi guys. Welcome to the fourth edition of the placement years, Triple E and Mechanical. I'm Ria. I'm part of the Changemakers Society, and I'm one of your moderators for today. We've invited a panel of wonderful people from Triple E and Mechanical, all in very different job aspects, to give you a better understanding of the careers you choose. We hope you take some solid information from this. Over to Ranjita to introduce the panelists.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ranjita, CSE 4SEM. Firstly, I would like to thank you all for coming here, taking time and efforts to answer our question and help us out. And if anybody has a questions, please put down in the comment section. We'll try to take them up. So yeah, let's begin. Let's start with the brief introduction. So I would like panelists to introduce themselves and share their journey and their experience with us. So yeah, can we start with Harshita?
Yeah, sure. So,
Okay.
hello everyone, I'm Harshita. I'm currently in my eighth semester of electrical engineering. First of all, thank you to CMS for inviting me for this discussion. It's an absolute pleasure to help all of you understand this placement procedure a little better. So, throughout college I've mainly worked on robotics and embedded systems project. I was mostly interested in hardware, so this was the perfect area of interest for me. Currently, I'm an intern at KPMG India. For those of you who aren't aware, it's a consultancy company that provides advisory and audit services. And I'm in the tech risk automation team, which mainly deals with cybersecurity and digital risk management. That's it. Ranjita, I think you're muted.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Um, Rishika, can you introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Rishika Gautam. I'm in my final year of college and my eighth semester. And a little bit about myself or my introduction would be that I have also worked in my courses, like my electrical and electronic domain, for all of my projects throughout college. And I did focus on the same, which was why I did my summer internship at BEL as well, which was focusing on electrical and electronics. And throughout college, I've been a part of a lot of clubs, and that has shaped me to become the person I am today. I will give you a lot more advice on which clubs you should be joining and whatnot later, but this was also very helpful for me throughout my placement journey. And yes, thank you so much, CMS Club, for inviting me here. And I'm really glad to answer all of your questions. And yeah, I've been placed at Flipkart, and I would like to thank the Best University Placement Cell and all of my teachers for helping me get this. And yeah, I am currently working as an intern at Flipkart in the supply chain management industry. So yeah, that's about me. Thank you.
Thank you, Rishika. So, Shruti, can you introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Shruti Singh, and I'm currently in my eighth semester of electrical and electronics engineering. So I've been placed at Hewlett Packard Enterprise, which is HP, as an IT developer, and the role starts around mid-Feb, around 19th of Feb is when I start. Mostly all throughout my college life, I've been a part of a startup for the past 2 years now, and that has truly shaped the kind of person I am. And if I were to give you more information, I would tell you that that is something which has helped me back this offer in the first place. And thanks a lot, CMS, for having me here. And I'm really looking forward to helping everybody out today. Thanks.
Thank you, Shruti. Shreya, can you introduce yourself?
Hi guys, I'm Shriya Desai. I'm currently in my eighth semester as well. I have been placed at Deloitte, USI, which is also a consultation firm. And I was a major part of AT. I was the design head for AT23. And I have been associated with CIE for a year now as a TA, as an intern. And that has also helped me a lot in various aspects. And I was a part of ECEL, and ECEL mainly helped me in networking and getting to know people, which we will come to later. And Yeah, I've done two summer internships over my course of engineering. One was at this firm called Phytech, and the other one was at Tata Elxsi. And I got these through my contacts itself. To be very honest, the summer internships are not very good for electrical departments. So finding it on your own is pretty necessary if you are uh, interested. And my projects included mainly in electrical and electronics field only, and slightly my hackathons were CS, lean a little bit on the CS side. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Shreya. Amok, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yes, we
we
can
can
hear
hear.
you.
Hi, my name is Amok BS. I am an 8th SEM student at Triple E right now in PES. Apart from this, I'm also pursuing a BSc in Data Science and Programming from IIT Madras. It's an online degree. Um, Thank you. Thanks to Changemakers Society for having me for this talk. It's a pleasure to be here. Right now, I'm working as an intern, a STEM intern in Goldman Sachs. If anyone doesn't know what Goldman Sachs does, they're into investment banking and pretty much a lot of other stuff in the finance world. What I do over there is my role is sort of like a data analyst, and that's pretty much all I'm allowed to say about it. I've been in Bangalore my whole life. I was born and brought up here. I went to school in Bangalore, went to college in Bangalore. Um, my internships, I did a summer internship at electronics at LRD, which is part of DRDO. And I also did an internship at CIE as a research intern for the whole of my 7th SEM. So that was like 5 months. Apart from this, I'm part of the music club. I'm a band head of a band called The Unknown. And yeah, that's pretty much what that's my intro. We'll get into details later on as the call progresses.
Thank you, Amok. Keshav, can you introduce yourself?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Keshav, and I'm a final year student at PES. I'm currently placed in TVS Motor Company, and I initially joined TVS as a summer intern uh, for 2 months, from where I got placed into the company full time, and I'm currently working as an intern there too. During my college days, I was domain head at Wheel, and I was also a part of AIKIA. I wasn't there in any other technical clubs. I also got some good news today, which is that I cleared my interview for Fleet Management, which is a merchant navy company. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Keshav. So let's take up some questions. So this question is for everyone. The first question is, what was your placement experience was like? Keshav, you can start.
Okay. So for getting into TVS, uh, the very simple thing was there was a link sent, as we all get a link from the placement cell for an internship program called the Utkarsh Internship Program, which had a lot of details to be filled. For example, what is your interest in engineering? Why are you doing engineering? So questions like these, which aren't technical, were asked in that form. You have to give detailed answers to all these questions. After which you get screened in. Once you get screened in based on this and your GPA, you go on to an online test. The online test is obviously purely technical, and they cover many topics, which I think we'll get into later on. And after that, you have to deal with an interview. So the interview deals with both the technical and non-technical questions. So it's a combination of your HR questions and your technical questions. And after all this, if you make the cutoff, yeah, you work as a summer intern. And once your summer internship is done, you either get a place there or not. So I got placed, and now I've gone back to TVS to do my final year project. Similarly, for fleet management, which is the merchant navy company, we had to directly sit for an interview. There was no online test. There wasn't any kind of screening in. It was only based on your GPA. and the interview was purely technical. There was no HR questions asked. And once you make the cutoff, you have to clear a medical, and yeah, you enter the company.
Okay. Rishika, do you want to add on?
No, I was just thinking about the fact that a lot of these placements are very different. They do not work the same, right? Like few companies only expect you to know technical knowledge. Few companies only want you to know like the management side of it, and some only are shortlisted, especially in PESU placements. Like when we sat for it, it was based purely on your merit. Like it was because of your GPA. So I was just thinking about how like I could relate to him because while we all were applying for different jobs and opportunities through placements in college, it was through these different criteria. So yeah, that's something that I wanted to add on.
Okay. Anyone else wants to add on?
Yeah, I just.
Yeah, I. Oh,
No, no, go ahead. It's fine.
Yeah, so my placement experience was slightly different. I had only one round of interview after the online test, which was also from home. The interview was offline at campus, but I had only one round, and I think it depends on the company and shortlist. The first shortlist, some companies do it based on your branch also, and some prefer only CSC, some prefer only ECE, and some prefer only triple E. Like there were some companies like ABB and even Flipkart which preferred only triple E and mechanical students, but other companies have different preferences. Sometimes they mention it, sometimes they don't. So we should just be ready for anything. That's all.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that the GPA, while it depends, like your GPA gets you into the stage where you'd be able to take the exam for the company, but that's all it is. After that, it's purely how you talk, your test, of course, like your aptitude skills in the test that you give. It depends on that. So a GPA is just like a gateway to enter the process, but after that, it doesn't really have much value because in my interview they never focused on my marks or anything like that. And also what I wanted to add was when I compare the degree that I have, like I'm doing right now electrical, when I compare it with my role at KPMG now, they're very different. So, and now I'm totally into cybersecurity and like risk management, which is not something that I've learned through college. But in the interview, when they're asking you questions, it's just about how much understanding of your own work you have and how well you're able to talk about what you've worked on through college. It doesn't matter like if you've done a CSE project in your, I mean, if you've done an electrical project and you're applying for like a consultancy job, how well you can speak is all that matters. Mostly all that matters. You gotta have conviction when you speak about whatever you've done throughout college. So that is one of the most important takeaways that I had from my interview. Yeah.
To add on to that, I just want to say that your resume is very, very, very important, and you like not necessarily, but you have to tweak a little bit at least for the job description the company is providing. The skills you add, the projects you add, you if you tweak and if you personalize it just for that company, it's very well and good. And you be thorough with everything that you put in your resume. My personal experience has been that my recruiters have always focused on what I've mentioned in the resume and how thorough I am with that. So anything they ask related to my projects mentioned in the resume, I should know about it. If I don't, that might really give a good impression of you. That it might give an impression that you're maybe lying about it on your resume, or you haven't done that part, but you're saying you have. So the more well you know your resume, that it's better.
Yeah, I'd just like to add on to what both Harshita and Shreya said. I don't know, I'm not sure if the people watching this right now are all from electrical and mechanical, but this is one thing that I would want everybody to keep in mind, that do not restrict yourselves to applying for a job just because you think that you may not be able to get in. So from my personal experience, I wasn't even going to go ahead and write the exam for HP. because it was just two or three people who were shortlisted from Triple E to write that exam, and it was rest of them were all from the computer science. And I just felt like, what is the point of writing this exam when I know for a fact that these people will be preferred over me? So first of all, you should never put that stop when it doesn't need to be there at all. Do not restrict yourselves from writing any exams. Write all possible exams that you can, because it's only, you just have to go knock on every single door. You never know which one is going to open up for you. And as an electrical engineer, all of us, for us, the opportunities within the core department itself that comes for placements is not much. And keeping recession in mind this year, there were absolutely none, if I can recollect. It was just ABB and one more company that came for us. So if you're going to restrict yourself and be like, no, I cannot apply to this because there are so many more people applying, then you're really restricting yourself from maybe one of the best possible opportunities out there. I'm currently the only person who is selected in HP who is a non-CS student. And that is something which everybody should, I'm not saying you should take inspiration from, but if in any way it pushes you in that direction, please do go ahead and take that step. Do not restrict yourselves.
Yeah, and even like if you're scared, this is a fear that I had, that okay, by some odd I make it into like a job which requires a lot of software knowledge. How am I going to survive? So you have to also understand that when companies come to college for placement, they know at what position all the students are. They don't expect you to know, like top level coding. They don't expect you to have as much knowledge as a CEO of a company. So they're obviously gonna put you through a training period where you learn everything from scratch. All they're looking for is the right attitude. Like Shruti said, don't limit yourself. Just apply, see what else is out there. Don't limit yourself just because of a fear.
Yeah. Is it okay if I add on a point as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Adding on to Harshita's point, what I wanted to say also was that I come from a community at PES University, which is not of the community that has like a 9+ GPA. I am also in the moderate, below par GPA, as you can say. So what I want to tell all of you as well is that you shouldn't be scared, because if you have your GPA above 6, this is for all the juniors that are listening, I think you are eligible for most placement, that is without a backlog. And if you have anything above golden, if you have anything above 7, you're golden. So there's nothing for you to be scared about while applying for jobs. And one more thing that you need to know is that while applying for these jobs, you should just not only be considering like what you have done in college, but also what your job description will be. So try and learn a lot about the company. Try to see like what the company does, and if by chance just like you get to know who the person who will be taking the interview for you, if you get to know them, try to get to know what they have done through LinkedIn, and try to use that as much as you can for your own benefit. So that's something I wanted to say.
So let's take up the... Yeah.
So it's a very simple thing. It's that learn to be versatile. So right now you can see a lot of people working in roles which they haven't prepared for, or which they haven't done throughout their life. Like even in TVS, I've seen cases where people who have been in core mechanical for 10 years, 20 years, they are managers in the IT field, in the IT side of TVS. So you'll have to learn how to be versatile. See, the world is a totally changing place right now. You'll have to learn to move with the flow. Upgrade yourself, evolve your skills in such a way that you can cope up anywhere. And that's important.
Okay, so let's take up the follow-up question. So what is the procedure for different companies?
Okay, can I go ahead?
Yeah.
I wanted to mention this as well. Like for my Flipkart interview, it was one of the first few companies that approached our college and our department, and it only came for electrical and mechanical because supply chain is a part of our curriculum. So the process for me was actually not very difficult. As Shreya also mentioned, I pretty much knew about everything I had done in college. I was an active part of all of the projects that I had been a part of. I knew like what a particular project was about, or I knew what I had done throughout college. So it was kind of easy for me, but I also did take my time to frame my answers well. Like, you need to know how exactly to, convey that to the other person, like what you did in college. Like, my capstone project was like an amalgamation of electrical, electronics, and mechanical fields. So that's something that you need to know. Like, for my Flipkart interview, I think I had like a good understanding and a basic understanding. I kind of revised all of my first and second year knowledge about electrical as well, because they do ask some basic questions if you know anything about what you've studied. So that, I think, was important for me. And since my job entailed supply chain management, I also went through like a lot more into detail. I found out contacts and I kind of contacted them for like a follow-up where I had a call with them, and then I discussed like what exactly they do, and just to understand the job description really well. So for me per se, I wanted to move out from the electrical background and move towards management. So I think this job really worked out well for me. I think for you, it's upon you. Like, you can choose which stream you want to go ahead with and what kind of job that you want to take up. So it's very different for different people. Placement varies from different companies. Like, you get a wide range of variety of companies that come to PES. You have like CS companies just with like coding and software development, while you also have like design, and you have a lot of, it's like a whole plethora of companies that come in. So what you should be doing is just knowing what kind of companies you want to apply for and focusing on them and trying to get through the interview and, just trying to crack it the best way possible.
Yeah, to just add on to that, my Deloitte interview was basically a little bit of CS, tech, management, everything together, because it was only one round. And my interviewer happened to be from the electrical background as well, but he was doing something in AI right now in Deloitte. So I did not really expect him to go into the electrical questions, but the first thing he asked was, what is the difference between a generator and a motor, which was not related to anything at all. He just wanted to make me comfortable and see how confident I am with what I'm saying and just my personality. So whatever you are saying, just be confident about it and just have a good research about everything in general and be thorough with your basics. That's all.
Yeah, so when it came to KPMG, they had totally 4 rounds of selection. So it started off with the group discussion, and the topics are very varied. So as long as you have a little knowledge about the current affairs and what's going on, you're good to go. And then there were 3 rounds of interview, out of which one was like basics. They questioned me about everything about cybersecurity. So one good thing that I did was I actually have to give credit to my dad. So since I had not a lot of idea about cybersecurity, I spoke to a person who's currently working in that field. And in like a 2-hour call before the interview, he gave me all possible knowledge about cybersecurity. So learn as much as you can, understand your role, like job description. Every company attaches a PDF of what the role is going to be. So go through that thoroughly and understand what the role is and prepare according to that. And just be aware of everything that's happening in that area right now, like latest updates or anything like that. And of course, work on your soft skills for the HR interview. It can be about anything. So the question she asked me is, what will you bring to this firm and what kind of a person are you? So those kind of questions, basic questions that we don't like to ask ourselves because they're difficult to answer. But it's a little bit of thinking, but prepare yourself for that and have a lot of knowledge about, mainly have a lot of knowledge about the job role you're going into.
Yeah, to add on to that, just master your introduce yourself question. Like, that's a fixed question any interviewer will ask, and that's where everything is like already half determined. So just be thorough, like master your introduce yourself question. That's very important.
Amog, if you want, you can go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just thinking I'd also mention my Goldman experience. It was It was a pretty standard procedure that we saw for a lot of companies that came on campus. First, you have an online exam, which for this particular company was just aptitude. Some companies also do ask coding and stuff, but we only had an aptitude test. And then they shortlisted, I think, around like some 50 people based on that. And then they called us for the interviews, which was like a whole day process, right? So it started from 9 a.m. and around like 4:45 p.m. or something. They said, they told us who all was selected. So, and during that, during that whole day, we had like 3 hours. 3 rounds. So first we had the group discussion round, which is also pretty standard, and then we had 2 rounds of interviews. Um, I I personally didn't see too much difference between the other 2 rounds, but maybe that was just the company. That was just how the interviews were, how the interviewers were. But yeah, the standard procedure that you might see for any company that comes to campus is first an online test, shortlist based on that, and then you have maybe a group discussion and then a face-to-face interview. And yeah, that's about it. How I prepared, I think I'll cover later on.
Okay. Talking about HP. So first of all, there's always a test. The test consisted of an aptitude round and the other was a coding round. Within the coding round, there were around 4 questions, which were pretty basic coding. So I don't want to be one of those people who tells you that, oh, you have to absolutely code, but let's not like keep it formal and make it really informal and say that some basic level of coding is absolutely required. It doesn't matter where you're going. It's the world we're living in right now, unfortunately, and you really need to know if you have to get somewhere. Even if later on your job role, it specifically doesn't require you to code as much, but while they're taking you in, they will definitely see whether or not you can code. And personally for me, I got through the test round pretty easily because they were not too difficult of coding questions. Next was the interview, and the interview was split into 3 rounds. First was the technical round, then came the managerial round, and the last one was the HR round. So the technical round was just 2 people, which would mostly be either your hiring manager and one technical manager that you have. And as everybody on this call also has just mentioned, you really need to be extremely thorough with the kind of resume that you have and what all you've put on your resume. So the trick that I use, and that I got a suggestion from a lot of people to use, is that you should always be the person who leads these interviews. You cannot have the recruiter come up to you and ask you continuously this, that, blah, blah, blah. But when you sit for an interview, it's either in your hands or their hands, and you have to make sure that you get it in your hands. So the trick to do that is start off with your resume, tell them everything that you've done, and each and every single thing that you've written on your resume has to be absolutely crisp, and you need to know what you've done. You cannot say things which you haven't done and lie on your resume. That is absolutely not right, because they will dig deep, and especially if it's a technical interview, they will definitely dig deeper and ask you, how did you do this, how did you do that? And if you're not able to answer those questions, then there goes your interview. So that is one major part that you need to understand while giving technical interviews. For me personally, there were a lot of questions based on my role, which is that of an IT developer. There were mostly questions related to MySQL and database management overall. So DBMS is a subject that I think everybody should go through once before their interviews. And if you're really looking towards a CS role, then that would require you doing your DSA, DA, operating systems, CN, and DBMS. So don't go deep into any of these unless you're looking at an SD role. But if it's anywhere close to a developer role, then please be thorough with your DBMS. And usually for me personally, they asked me to write a particular query based on the question that they had. So if you are able to give them what they want right there, then you need to understand that you're mostly through with that interview. So I was the last person to get through that round, and in the managerial round it was actually pretty chill, and it was the global IT head who was taking that round for me. And she mostly had questions which were related to, like Shreya just mentioned, introduce yourself, talk about what you like to do, how do you take a break, what do you do for yourself when you're taking a break. So these questions are not something that you expect to answer in an interview, right? But these are those basic things that people look at because they're trying to test the kind of a person you are. Are you a good person to work with? And do you fit into the work culture of that particular company? So do study the work culture of the company that you're applying for and get to know, not dig deep into the company, what it does and everything, but at least the basic thing that the company stands for. That is pretty important. And towards the end, it was just the HR round where they look at what kind of, how do you fit in and where do you fit in. They will tell you where exactly you would be working. So that's how the interview process was for me. But one very good thing about my interview was that throughout, I think I was the person taking the interviewer's interview rather than them taking mine, because I had a lot of questions. So my biggest tip for giving any interview would be ask as many questions as you can. Whenever they ask you, do you have any questions? If you go ahead and say no, that shows a lot. That says a lot about you, that you're not really interested in working in this company. You don't want to dig deep into what they do, where you would be working. So ask as many questions as possible. That shows a lot of, that you are very much interested in working in their company, because they've been sitting and taking interviews of hundreds of people, and they're not interested in talking to you. So unless and until you give them something that they can remember you by, you're not really making a difference in that particular interview. So that is one big thing that I would like to tell everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, just to add on to that, so my interview was just after the lunch break. So and GJB had recently opened. So I asked him, like, do you like our college canteen and all of that? And now that I look back at it, I feel like that kind of set a tone for the interview. Like, it was just a 20-minute question answer that we had, but asking questions, like she said, is very important. And another tip that I would like to give is sometimes they may ask questions to like fluster you, or you use big words to like confuse you. And the most important thing is to always remain calm throughout your interview. So he took a look at my resume. It was all, electrical side things that I'd done, and like clubs and fests I'd taken part in. So he knew I didn't have a background in cybersecurity, and he started asking all these questions and like asked me to give examples and all of that. And with the limited knowledge I had, I remained calm and I answered those questions as much to my knowledge. And like, I'm not like giving myself a pat on the back, but I'm just trying to explain with an example how you maintain your composure throughout the interview. Because the moment you get, and this was like a client based role, and the moment you get flustered and everything, that just show that in high pressure situations you may not be the best resource if you get scared and you're taken aback. So yeah, remaining calm is very important.
Another thing which somewhat helps is tailoring a few answers to showcase your knowledge about the company you're sitting for. So, for example, in TVS, I was asked about why do you want to join TVS Motors? And I answered it based on their products. So I told them that TVS is a company which is growing on an everyday basis. We know that you're releasing bikes like RR310, etc., which we aren't seeing before from you guys. So you're getting into higher CC bikes, you're getting into things which are a little bit more exciting, and the market wants these things. So, when you evolve your answer to show your knowledge about the organization which you're sitting for, if you have a knowledge about the products which they are offering you, it will help you.
So to add on to that, people generally say that these PPTs are not very important. But when you go and sit in the PPT and you see what they have to tell about the company, and how you pick up some words from that presentation that you use in the interview itself again. Like Keshav said, why you want to join a company. Pick it up from their PPT and say how attentive you were while listening to that, and that gives an impression that you really want to join the company. And like it gives them that, yeah, people were listening and people paid attention. So that's important.
One last thing that I want to add on. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think the one thing that you shouldn't be doing, apart from all of this, is that you shouldn't be going late for your interview. I am a person who's not very on time for most things, but interview, please be on time. And I have missed several exams also because I've not been on time. But please be on time. And another important thing is, please do not show that you're low on energy at any point in time throughout the interview. I know it's like a whole day process or whatever, but try to keep your energy intact throughout, like when you're talking, because as Shruti mentioned, they'll be taking so many interviews throughout the day, and it's not the way that you should be going about talking to them. So yeah, don't be fearful while asking all of your questions, and pay right attention and answer the questions properly. Let's say by chance, if you don't know the answer to any technical question, at least try to dodge it by telling them something you know about it as well, right? Because you've been studying in the same field for so long. So yeah, do all of that, and yeah, please do proper research on your opportunity, and please dress really well before you go for the interview. These are very important things that you should be following, other than everything we have mentioned. So keeping all this in mind, I think everything else was covered. Thanks.
Anyone else wants to add on? Okay, so let's move to the next question. Which core companies do come to campus?
So this time there were really less. So I think Lam Research came, Mercedes-Benz came. Mercedes came only for women, and I think ABB came, but ABB is an electrical core company, but they came for a marketing type role. I think, I'm not sure. I don't remember much.
We also had,
It was a
yeah,
CSR.
we also had Schneider come in.
Yeah, but they didn't take anybody
but they
from
didn't take anyone from electrical.
Yeah.
Which doesn't.
Yeah, so that is one case where they prioritize after the test is done, even though it's all good from your end. It's something
And
they prioritize.
there was Lam Research as well. It was a tier one company. I think they took, I think, just one or two people. So that's
Three
the thing,
people from
right?
our department, yeah.
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 So if there is a core company, and if it's everything that you've learned in electrical that you want to apply over here, they'll take like only one or two people. Not to discourage you, but like it is what it is, right? So that's what happened this year. Only few people got in. But yeah, so generally the percentage of companies that for core engineering jobs, electrical and mechanical, that came were relatively less when compared to computer science.
Yeah, and when you say that, there were few companies that came only for ECE, that like Collins Aerospace, Samsung Semiconductors, and I think Tejas Networks and all came only for ECE. They didn't want to extend to ECE, Triple E. So, and I think even Microchip came for core. So
I think these companies also came like the second time, or they particularly shortlisted few people right after the interview as well. So don't lose out on your hopes thinking, oh, I didn't get shortlisted, this may be the end of it or whatever. Try to perform well in like all the rounds, as what everyone has mentioned, like throughout the technical round, or the just giving the exam, right? So try to give your best in that, because if the companies come back and they want to recruit more people, you're still in the game. So even though there are very few core companies, I think you should you should just be on top of your game. So, yeah.
Okay, so what are the important subjects for technical rounds?
That depends on the job role and the company. It's a very vast question. I'm not sure about the CS side of it. Like I qualified for the interview only for KPMG, so that's what. Like I said before, you need to be thorough with what the job role is, and based on that, you have to edit your resume and your brush up on the knowledge that is required by the job role. So, for example, Lam Research came for a I'm not sure, but I think it was mostly based on analog. There were two separate roles. One was embedded systems and one was analog. So I had given it for I had chosen the analog part of it, and I brushed up on my power electronics, analog electronic circuits, digital electronics. So pay close attention to your job role, and you can always go and ask your professors. They'll be happy to help you out.
Yeah, to add to that, I think, like Harshita said, they will mostly mention it in the job description what they're looking for, like the basic requirements. But other than that, I think, like Shruti mentioned, for CSE, DBMS, DSA, OSCN, they're very important. And mainly your concept is like a must question in all of this. And I think for electrical, your analog, your digital, the basics of these are very, very important. They might ask you a very simple circuit which you learned in third semester, and you're giving the interview in your seventh semester, which you don't remember. But you have to keep brushing up these topics, and they will test you mostly on your basics itself.
Also, talking about the aptitude round, I mean, I understand that people mostly focus on the coursework that they've done, but you also need to keep in mind that in all of these companies, one of the most important sections within the test itself is the aptitude round. So, for the aptitude round, there are a lot of sources available on the internet wherein you can do your aptitude testing and analytical thinking, and there's a lot of number games and everything. So, we had Schneider, and Schneider came up with an aptitude test which was one of the most weirdest yet fun tests that we've all ever written. It had some images and some graphics game which was pretty it looked easy, but once you get into it and you start answering the questions, with every right question the level increases, it keeps getting much more complex. So even though the coursework will definitely help you get through, it will help you get through the technical round, but the aptitude round is something that where most people, they get that setback, they just lag behind in that. And if you're not able to crack the aptitude round, maybe you won't be able to get through even though you're technically very sound. So technically speaking, you can for a CS role, as all of us just discussed, DBMS, data structures and algorithms, operating systems, computer networks, these 4 5 subjects have to be done extremely extremely well, because if it's an SDE role, which is a software development engineer, then they dig deep into your technical skills and how much do you exactly know about the subject. And talking about electrical, the core companies which come in, it's all of these main coursework that we had, which included analog electronics, power electronics, digital electronics, ECT also for that matter, which is electric circuit theory. And for a lot of embedded based companies, they ask embedded systems and they also look at microcontrollers. Some also have some EC related companies, they also have VLSI for that matter. So these are the basic coursework that you need to do, which everybody will tell you about. And there are like hundreds of sources available on YouTube where you can brush up all of these skills in very minimal amount of time. But having said that, please also look at strengthening your analytical thinking and problem solving skills, because that helps a lot with the aptitude aspect of the tests. And it's really important that you get through it in order to get through the entire interview process. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think if anyone from the sixth semester is watching, your pre-placement tests would have already started. College provides that thing, which is helpful. But if in case you're not very regular with it, I had started preparing for an MBA just as a backup plan, and whatever I learned there helped a lot in these analytical that part of the test, not the technical part. So, and they're pretty fun. So it's not like studying. It's mostly high school math and just analytical thinking. So if you want to have like a good practice for that, because so many times the thing is like you miss out by like a small mark to make it to the next round. So the one round you can actually control is the written test part of it. So any MBA coaching books will help you get through that part of the test.
I would like to add on things very specifically related to mechanical engineering. So in mech, you'll have to have very strong basics if you want to clear your tests or your interviews if it's technical. So I have a list of topics which I'd like to mention, which are important. IC engines, workshop technology, metallurgy, fluid mechanics, pumps, compressors, turbines, thermodynamics, heat exchangers, refrigeration, boilers, electrical motors, mechanical measuring instruments, tribology, and machine design. So, how it works is very simply that if you're sitting for a company which is more focused on your automobile side, you'll have to know more about your IC engines, you'll have to know more about aerodynamics, etc. And at the same time, if you're sitting for a company which is related to marine engineering, you'll have to know about pumps, you'll have to know about compressors, turbines, thermodynamics, etc. So the level is never going to cross a certain threshold. So you need to have very strong basics. Thermodynamics, they'll ask you what are the laws of thermodynamics, what is thermal equilibrium, things like that. And you should be knowing these things. If you don't know it, like you haven't done anything in the 4 years which you have studied mech, they aren't going to go to a very high level. The problem is that the topic is very vast. So to help you guys cover the topics, I have a small hack, which is a website called aboutmech.com. So you go to this website, you have a data book of mechanical engineering. You can brush up your entire mechanical engineering, which is tens of thousands of slides in PESI Academy, in a few hours in that website. So focus on the role which you're going to play in the company and the company itself. But at the same time, when you're a mechanical engineer, you need to know everything. All the topics which I've mentioned, you need to have a good basic knowledge about all of them.
Okay, anyone wants to add on? Okay, so let's go to other question. Can you talk about other ways to get placed other than on-campus placement?
Yeah, so I'd like to take this up. I think right now, your best shot at getting placed is probably on campus. Um, it's the scene outside is not really nice. It's not okay. It's not nice at all, right? I remember for my summer internship, um, I used to sit on LinkedIn and apply every day to like 5 companies, and I did this for 6 months straight, right? And none of them worked out. So unless you have some other contacts or you're already involved in some company in some capacity, I would say just focus on your on-campus placements because these will give you your best shot at getting placed. Yeah, and that's pretty much it from me. Does anyone want to add on?
Yeah, so to add on to that, sorry, I'll just finish. Yeah, so LinkedIn, people say that yeah, you get through if you apply religiously and you keep applying every day, like 10 jobs and all per day. But I think if you really want to try off campus and if you think that that company might not show up in college or if there's something very specific, the best thing to do is find a person that's already working there and build connection with him or her and get a referral from him or her, which is a slightly easier way of getting into the company because there are chances if you apply on the company portal, they will not even look at it. So through a referral, they will also see that maybe the employee has thought that him or her is capable of joining the company and if they will actually make a good fit there. So, and that will also reduce like maybe one round in the whole procedure. So, in college placements, max you will have is 3 rounds, but it can go on for more rounds if you're applying off campus, which is also very difficult. They grill you more when it's off campus. So, yeah, that's the main difference.
Yeah, I think I pretty much had the same thing to add on, like LinkedIn or your referrals. I think establishing connections during college while you're doing these extracurricular activities should be focused on creating a network that will get you to what you want to do next. So let's say if you want to move out of your realm or your electrical or electronics engineering or whatever you're doing, but you want to work elsewhere, very important that you maintain these connections because these will be the one helping you apply off campus. But yeah, not to discourage you all, it's just a little more harder because you'll have a minimum of 6 to 7 rounds. But at the same time, you shouldn't just stop applying as well. Like with college placements, it is a good practice to apply off campus because it is something that you want to do and it's your dream job and it's how you take your career like ahead. So that's one thing. But another thing that you can also do is a lot of these companies have hackathons. So PESU placements keep sending these hackathon links and they keep sending these hackathon mails. So you can register for these hackathons, and if you get a chance to win or come in the top 10 or something like that, you get a chance to sit for their PPO and their placement as well. So that is another opportunity that you can focus on. But nonetheless, you can there are chances off campus as well. But as of now, like our college, PES University has one of the best placement things that are going on. So your focus should be on trying to crack like your job role through PESU placements, because as I mentioned, there are a lot of jobs that come in anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, and so all of this placement session starts somewhere around summer. So once you're done with 6 sem, you're pretty much done with like major like exams and stuff in your college. Because for us in 7th semester, we had like if you have any credits pending, you'll have like special topics. That's it, and it'll be a capstone. And capstone won't take much of your time, so it's a pretty relaxed semester. But again, you'll have so like this is where college did a good thing by like finishing everything by 6th semester. You'll have enough time in the day to prepare for interviews and tests and all of that. So really make use of that time to start practicing.
Yeah, this is kind of unrelated, but I would still like to talk about this. So, throughout college, I'm pretty sure everybody is a part of a lot of clubs. But if you think that is a way that would help you land a job, then that's not going to make any difference. Like, personally, I know a lot of us have been a part of a lot of events. I was the head of campaigning for Atmatrisha. Shriya was the head of design for Atmatrisha. And we've all done all of these things that everybody does in their college life. But the only thing that I can tell you that you can get out of this is the network that you build and the people that you meet. So, for me, from my personal experience, I've met the kind of seniors that I've met. I've personally landed an opportunity for myself, which has really helped me, and it has truly made me who I am today. And I was in touch with one of my seniors who was a part of this event, and through them I got to know about the startup that they are a part of, that they are building. And then I got involved, and then that was a whole another journey for the next 2 years because I got to learn a lot from it. So it's not about the kind of work that you're doing in a club, it's about the connections that you're building within that club and where that takes you in the future. So even though you are doing things just for fun, just remember that in the back of your mind there needs to be some kind of analytical thinking going on, that does this land me anywhere in the future? Is it going to take me somewhere? Or is it, I'm not saying don't do it for fun, do it, but please keep in mind that, building the kind of network that you do really makes a difference as to where it will take you in the future.
Just to quickly just add on to that, I'm sorry, but again off topic, but try to build like a story or a path and have a end goal. That okay, if you're applying for if you are looking for a full-time job in a management or product management thing, so do internships related to that, do any courses related to that, build your network related to that. So when you do that in a specific niche, that will help you in the long run as well.
Yeah, never close any doors that like, oh, I never. So in the start of college, I only wanted to go to technical clubs because I was very sure I wanted to do engineering job. And then I did something called CIE, and then through that course I realized that maybe management side is what I'm more interested in. So never shut your, always be open to experiences, because at the end of the day, like Shruti said, like don't do anything like just like time pass, but do something constructive, because even though at the moment it may not seem like it makes a lot of sense for you, one day you're going to come back to it and think that like realize that, oh, I did this and it helped me in a certain way. So be open to all opportunities you have. Don't shut doors.
Yeah, to just again add on to that, like Harshita mentioned, CIE is one stop destination for everything. Satya sir and Madhukar sir will help you out for anything and everything possible and guide you in the right direction. So it does not really have to be job related. Anything related, you can just go talk to them. You can drop in at their office, and they're always happy to talk to everybody in the campus, and they can help you in whatever way you want. So I have had this personal experience with them for over a year and a half now. I did CIE L1 and L2, and then I have also been a part of CIE as a TA and intern for a year now. So that has helped me a lot.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think a lot. Yeah, okay. Just one. Yeah, I think a lot of us on this call have been involved with CIA in some capacity or the other, and it has helped us. So yeah, if you're in your fourth sem or third sem, I would recommend taking up CIA L1, L2, and anything else that they have to offer, because it really goes a long way. And anything you want to be involved, like you have any sort of interest, CIE probably has something for you to do. So, Satya sir and Madhukar sir, their doors are pretty much always open. You can just walk in. They're extremely sweet people. Go introduce yourself and just let them know that I'm interested in this. Do you have anything for me? And sooner or later, they'll if they can't put you on something immediately, they'll certainly come back to you. So yeah, see, I would recommend a lot of juniors to go and be involved with CIE in some sort of way or the other.
Yeah, one last thing that I also wanted to add to all of this is that apart from all of this, again, a little off topic, just to build your connections, do not restrict yourself to college. I was a part of an organization known as ISEC, which was outside of college, and I met people from all other colleges. And I also met people who were working from different colleges, which was also a reason as to how I got to work with somebody who was working on the startup as well. So, very similar story to Shruti. But I also met these people because I went and joined this organization, like which was something outside college, and I think I learned a lot through this experience, and like a lot of hard and soft skills as well. So you can also join a lot of these clubs and organizations that are outside college, which will help you strengthen your hard skills and soft skills, which I think are the most important thing for your interview, because end of the day they are looking for all of these qualities that you have, and you building these connections outside matter a lot if you're not going through college placements and if you want to follow your career path. So that's another way that you can take.
Another option which is available for everyone is getting into the public sector. So all of us here, we are all placed in private sector in companies related to the private sector. There are a lot of openings for various companies in the public sector, which can also be something you guys are looking into. They'll have various criteria depending on the organization. I know a lot of companies look at your GATE score mainly, but also companies which hire in other ways. So companies like SAIL, BEL, etc. Please look into that. That's another option which is open for all of you.
Okay, so the next question is, what kind of projects did you guys do in your time at PS?
Yeah, so I did mostly with respect to embedded systems, a lot of microcontrollers. I did projects with Arduino, MSP, ESP. I learned ROS, which is robotic operating system. So I did a summer internship at the lab, robotics lab. It's in the 12th floor in B block, under a professor in my department. His name is M. Venkatrangan. So that was a 2-month internship that I did, and probably the most I've ever learned in college. It was all self-learning. It was like I just applied for the internship because actually Shriya recommended it to me, but like I didn't know much in the start of it, but I got to learn so much. So. Uh, One thing I would like to say is look out, you'll know when a project is a very common project done. Because I heard the project home automation system at least like 50 times. I've heard so many people do that project. So, talk around, look at what other people are doing. If you have an original idea, of course, that's best. But if you're still struggling to find ideas for a project, always you can go search online. You can go talk to your professors. Like, if you want to develop something that's entirely new and you have no clue, you need to know someone who is in that area and who knows what's happening. So talk to your professors if you're clueless. But yeah, and I think every semester requires you to do a certain number of projects, and just but one thing I would recommend, projects are usually done as a team, and you have like one guy or girl who's smart who'll figure it out, but who like take the lead and sort of do everything, but always be give your 100% to a project, because later when you list it on your resume and you're not able to answer the question, it looks really bad. So have interest, have like genuine interest in the project when you're doing it. So, and try to there's no restriction that, oh, because I'm an electrical person I can't do a software project. As long as you're interested and you know it and you're willing to learn, you can do it. So yeah, and have a varied projects, varied range of projects. Don't keep repeating the same thing again, like with small changes. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, to add on to that, I just wanted to say that for putting it in your resume, you need really unique projects. But for practicing, I think doing hands on is the best thing that you can learn from. Do projects that are common only, like maybe you can start off with an LED blink, but that's only for practice. You can't really put that on your resume. But the more you practice with projects and tasks and assignments, that's the best way to learn, because that gives you real world learning experience and it really helps you develop your skills. Like
Yeah.
maybe you can just maybe you can just develop an app for fun. It can be anything that's already done, but you can do it for fun and you can learn so much from that. So yeah, you can do it individually as well.
Yeah, and when we talk about projects, it's something that is a highlight in your resume. So even though you're building a project as a team in your coursework, it can be a very small project, but make sure that your contribution is something which kind of makes a difference to that project. Because in my interview as well, I was asked that, in my particular project, I think it was my capstone project that they were talking about. They asked me what exactly was your contribution, and if was there any sort of a problem that you guys faced, and how did you overcome that problem. So if you're very involved in the kind of projects that you're doing as a team, you would definitely have the answer to these questions which the interviewer asks you. So at that point of time, it becomes really important that your project is something which is clear. You have a clear picture of what you're doing in your head, and that's talking about team projects and capstones. But coming to individual projects, I think you should focus, if you are looking at doing a developer job or an SD role, then you have to have a project in the field of software development, which includes maybe building a website for yourself, or for that matter building your own portfolio website. That also makes a huge difference, and that's something that recruiters really look at, and they will point out very minute details within that project and ask you how you've done that. And since it's something that you've built for yourself, you would be very well versed with each and every aspect of that. So that's something that you can do with respect to projects. And personally for me, related to electrical, I started out by doing very simple experiments with the Arduino and all of the microcontrollers that we usually had, because to be very honest, the professors that we have, they're absolutely amazing, but there's not much guidance that comes into picture when we come to the practical aspect of things. So you really do have to figure out everything on your own, and in order for you to do that, you need to be very well versed with the kind of components that we're using. So we really need to brush up everything about the particular components and how everything works out with respect to electrical. Because for computer science and everything, you have a lot of resources available online which will teach you or even give you the exact same project that you want to build. But there's a lot of effort that goes into building an electrical and electronics project, and it's something that you have to put in on your own. Nobody will be there to tell you exactly what to do. They will guide you, they will also misguide you, but you have to know the difference between being guided and misguided. So for that, you need to actually learn on your own. And again, keeping all of this aside, the biggest project that I've personally done is build a startup, and I will always sing a song about it. But I think it makes a lot of difference when you are a part of something which is trying to build a change in the world. And me being a part of a startup, I've done almost every job possible on planet Earth. I've done sales, I've done marketing, I've done design, I've done tech, I've done everything. And to be honest, to be able to have landed this job, the kind of communication skills and the kind of interpersonal skills that you need as a person to survive in the corporate world, that is something that I've gained through my experience of building the startup. So project can be a project itself, but it can also be anything you want it to be. So don't restrict yourself. And I think your second and third years in college are, people say it's one of the most crucial years, but it doesn't have to be crucial necessarily in the terms of academics itself. Don't just keep your focus on, oh, I have to get a good GPA. I have a good GPA, but that's not the only criteria that can land you a job if you actually don't know the practical aspects of things. So please keep in mind that don't restrict yourselves to just academics. Just keep it at a level where you're not really going through multiple backlogs in a year. You're just surpassing the bare minimum criteria, which is a good 7 CGPA. And apart from that, involve yourself in things which can actually make a difference to you when you go into the corporate world. Yeah.
I just want to go back to as 2 seconds. I just want to go back to a point we were making earlier with respect to the interview. Always, whenever they ask questions, everybody can use jargons and fancy words and give an answer, but it'll be more believable when you give examples. So they asked me, if I put you into a project that you have zero idea about, how are you going to go about it? So I used my experience at the robotics lab where I had no idea about anything, and I spoke about that. So use your projects and your resume and make it relevant in the interview. Use as much examples as you can. Just don't use fancy words.
Yeah. Something that I wanted to add on is more often than not, like most people confuse college clubs, internships, projects. They confuse it. So in projects, they would have mentioned what they would have done in a college club, and in what they would have done in a college club, they would have confused it for a project. So please know that they're very different things. What you do in a club is very different, because not necessarily has it any value when it comes to like applying for placements. But project per se, I personally would suggest you to do something related to your domain. Like I really wanted to do something related to my domain, not because it's helpful for placements or whatever, but personally when I interned at BL, I think like at Bharat Electronics Limited, I learned about electronic equipments, like how they actually work or how they even actually look, because not everything's available in your labs, not everything's available at home, and not any day will you just pick up like a fan and see what's inside or whatnot. So but at these places, when you're going for your internship, you tend to look into the tiny details of what exactly the parts are, like a MOSFET or whatever that is, right? So I think doing an internship in your whatever first 2 years related to your like what you're studying, electronics or whatever, or CS, is very important that you do projects on the same thing. But at the same time, try to balance both well, like your studies and this. Everything should go hand in hand, and try to do a lot of other activities as well, which will back yourself up on this. Like not just having knowledge, but at the same time, you have learned management skills as well. So that was like the gist of it. So try and see what you can do best. So if there is an opportunity at a particular place or an internship where you can lead, or where you can try to make a change, or where you can try to get something new, try and do that, because these are few things that will differentiate you from the crowd. So that's a very important factor that you should be focusing on while doing internships. And summer is a very crucial period. Please do not like just go for these normal subjects. And as we mentioned, it's still hard to get core internships in PS, especially for electrical. So try to build your contacts and try to get your internships in these places, which give you a whole all-round experience, which will help you further on in your placements and everything else. Thank
Yeah, I
you.
just wanted to emphasize more on how important your extracurriculars are. So we said that clubs and all these stuff don't lead to a job or an internship, but they still matter a lot when you're giving an interview. So recruiters mostly see how much real world experience you have in dealing with actual people and actual problems in the real world, and how you approach them. So, like Harshita said, giving examples of these things will be like really helpful in an interview when you're saying that, yeah, I had real world experience and I will apply that and approach problems in a particular way, even in the office and even in the technical problem as well. So having a good GPA or good 10 won't really help you get a job instantly, or having only extracurriculars won't help you. But having a balance is very, very important. And I think I can say that for all of us, that we have been very active part of extracurriculars at college, and that has helped us a lot in interviews.
I would like to add a few things purely related to mech. So, if you want to increase your value as a mechanical engineer, you need to know things regarding your software, mechanical software. Examples are Motion View, your ANSYS, ANSYS Fluent, and you have a Solid Edge, etc. So, knowing these softwares will increase your value instantaneously. Try taking up projects, mini projects, anything related to these softwares. It'll help you a lot in the future. One more thing which I would like to mention is that being in mech, you'll have to push for experimentation for your capstone project. Experimentation, if you want to get published, you'll have to experiment. You can't have a numerical study going on and expect to get published. It's mostly not going to happen unless it's something which is very novel. So push for experimentation, and that's important. In case you're not able to get a summer internship, don't waste your summer. Complete your project in your summer. Work very hard, go to college every day, push at that time. It's going to be very crucial. If you're able to get a chunk of work done at that time, you're going to have a really good seventh semester, you're going to have a really good eighth semester. At the same time, if you don't, you are going to struggle a little bit. So work on these things, they'll help you a lot. Work on your softwares.
Okay, the next question is, what domain is best sought after when it comes to project?
So if you're going for a core electrical job, your power electronics, your VLSI, IoT, robotics, mainly embedded systems and analog systems are very important, and they will, question more about your circuits and how you've analyzed those circuits and how you've built them. If you've actually built them or you've used a simulation like MATLAB, they question every detail of it, even including how many ampere, how much voltage, how much is the threshold, everything. You need to know everything about every single component if you're expecting a core interview. And if your projects are in that domain, they will ask you about everything. And if like they're asking about general things, it will be mainly what is your input graph, or what's your output graph, and everything else. And if you're going for a CS, again, like we mentioned, those important basics are very, very important.
I just wanted to say something over here. Now, if you're already in third year and you've done most of your projects, this may not apply to you. But if you're looking out and you're confused as to which domain should I focus on if you're in your second year or first year, what I would like to say is I am not interested in coding much, and I actually did not like it at all. And I had this in my mind that I'm going to do an entirely hardware job, or it's going to be something not related to engineering at all. But we don't live in such a black and white world, like where I can only do hardware. The world is changing, and the requirement is of more software developers at this point. So if you're interested into hardware and you completely want to go into that, I'm not discouraging. But if you feel that, but like we said before, the opportunities are not as much, even though it's an important role, you won't get as much options over there. So you do need to have a little bit of coding, and that's where the middle ground is embedded systems. You have all of your microcontrollers, microprocessors. Robotics is an excellent field to get into as an electrical engineer. It's not, many people say it's too complicated or difficult, but if you have an open mind, you can always learn. It's not a lot of complex programming. You'll have to work with the circuit there also. So if anybody is wondering that, I'm not maybe cut out for CS, because I saw a lot of people taking minors as well. So if you don't want to do that, get into robotics and embedded systems. That's the best.
Yeah, just to quickly add on to that, most companies who are doing core semiconductors, core analog power electronics, have a requirement of masters mainly. So if you are really keen on doing a core job, then most preferably try for BTech after your BTech as well. But mainly they require a master in that particular topic because your BTech doesn't cover as much.
Anyone else wants to add on?
I would
Okay,
like to
so
say one thing.
yeah.
Yeah. So in mechanical, you're divided into four parts. One is your design, you have your thermo, you have your manufacturing, and you have one more. You have your automobile, which is my specialization. So the thing is, your projects are based on your interests, right? So you take up your projects first, and then comes all the companies which are offering you their roles. So obviously, if you're going for a design engineering role, having done a project in design will make you better suited for that. So, if possible, try to diversify. Do something related to each of these. Know something related to each of these, it'll help. But at the same time, because you do your projects before all of these placement things start, in mech, there's no guarantee that doing a certain project will land you a certain job.
So the next question is, did you guys take up any online course or any online resource? Can you mention some websites that you have used?
Yeah, so I'd like to answer this. Like I mentioned earlier in my introduction, I've taken up this online degree from IIT Madras, which is in data science and programming. As far as I can say, it's a pretty good course. It's helped me a lot. It's really gone a long way as far as my career start has been concerned. Um, but it's a commitment. It'll take you about 3 or 4 years of constant work. So it's another degree that you're just doing side by side with the one that you're already doing on campus. If you, I mean, if you think it's a little late for you to start, so I started this before I started my on-campus degree actually. So if you guys think it's a little late for you to start to be committed to like a program like this, you have other online resources like NPTL, which is like which it's a pretty great resource. Um, you have course instructors from all the IITs, pretty interesting subjects. You also have like management topics and soft skills, which are taken by professors from IIMs. And these courses are pretty much mostly free, or otherwise you have to pay like a fee of 5,000 or something. And if it's paid, you do get a certificate. So it's something that you learn, and it's something you get to add on your resume as well. Other than that, if you want to prepare for placements as such, one channel on YouTube that I found helpful during my preparation for placements was this channel called Prep Insta. You can look it up. They have tips for every company. They pretty much describe the whole process to you, and they also cover questions that have been asked before by that company. So you sort of get an idea of this of the difficulty level of the interview, or like the online test, or whatever it is. If you want resources for electrical and electronics, there's a channel called NISO Academy. Stuff is pretty well explained there, and it focuses more on your concepts and also problem solving. So if you if you use that channel, you would be pretty much set. Um, how important is it to do courses outside syllabus? I would say it's extremely important, right? Like other speakers on this panel have mentioned before, CGPA just gets you onto the playing field, right? After that, it's what else have you done other than a high CGPA? What sets you apart from the others? So once you take these additional courses, it shows that you're willing to do more than what's just required, right? In today's world, it's not really just enough to graduate with a degree. You need to do something more. Um, does it add value to our resumes? Absolutely, yes. I can't stress this enough. My role, my job, I don't think I would have secured it without these additional courses that I've done. If I just done my degree and had a high CGPA, I don't think I'd be where I am right now. We have seen cases of people who just have a high CGPA, right? But okay, fine. What have you done apart from that? I mean, everyone on this panel pretty much has an above average CGPA, as far as I know. But we sort of got placed before the 9 pointers. So that was something interesting because we have done something else, right? So yeah, to in short, it's extremely important. Use online resources, do extra courses, and yeah, just add as much as you can to your resume.
Yes, apart from all of this, I think personally for me, online courses get very daunting. Like at a point in time where you're watching so many courses and you're watching so many videos back to back to back, and you've attended college, and it's like lectures there and lectures here as well. So it kind of gets daunting at one point for me personally. So I think if you're really interested in learning, it's a very good platform. And for people who can get through it, amazing, nothing like it. Obviously, because you're learning the language, it's not just important because you can put it on your LinkedIn or put it on your resume. It's what you learn from these courses. Do you actually have the knowledge of the particular course that you've attended? So there are few free courses that Google, Microsoft, and even on Coursera, all of these big companies do give out like your course specific courses for free at a point in time. So you have to be a little alert at that point in time so you can secure these free courses. At the same time, adding value to what you're learning, it gives you a lot of other pointers that you can focus upon as well. So another thing also is that not everyone only looks at these courses in specific, because it's not very important as far as it's concerned for placements. But again, it's the knowledge that you gain from these courses. You can do very specific courses, and I think the best ones that I found, apart from YouTube and what Amog has mentioned, are Coursera and Upgrad. I think I found really good courses there, especially for machine learning and everything apart from what I've done, right? Like apart from electronics, whatever I wanted to do as far as computer science is concerned and data analytics, I think that was my interest and field interest at that point. So I think I found that on Upgrad and Coursera. I think you get really good courses over there. But yeah, that's my take on it.
So there's this program called the Tata Ready Engineer Program, which will be given to you by the college itself. So this will start in your fifth semester and it will go to your sixth semester. So in your fifth semester, you'll have a basic course, and your sixth semester, you'll have an advanced course. I urge all mechanical engineering students who are in their fifth and sixth semester to be taking part in this. It's going to help you a lot. It's a certified course. It's absolutely free because it's given to the college and you're getting it from the college. And it's going to add a lot of value to your resume. So this is something which is just given to you by the college. Make use of opportunities like this. It's going to help you a lot.
Does anyone else have anything to add on? Okay, so the next question. Could you tell us about the internships that we can do during our undergrad?
So, in the beginning, I was very focused on landing a core job. So I did 2 internships in embedded fields itself. But yeah, that is again something that went unplanned. That I landed up with a consulting job. So if you see what interests you and try to find an internship in that niche field itself, and that really helps you build your resume and get a real world experience. And again, that mostly won't be possible through placements. I think there was one student from our batch that got into a summer internship at Bosch. Through placements, but others, all of us, we had to find internships on our own. And I think there were a couple of internships that college also provided under professors and these center for learning. I think there are plenty of them in college. Like Harshita mentioned, she did a robotics internship under a professor. So, and you also get these and if you want to just do it for like covering credits, I think there are better options for that as well. Your department will offer you a course for 1 week, which is again 2 credits, and you can do that and claim credits as well. But if you want to do internship and if you want to get real world experience, then you should see what your interests are and how you in which direction you want to build your resume.
I just want to make a point that a lot of who is on the meet may not necessarily agree with. I don't. This internship is the first professional experience I've had. I haven't had any internship experience before. So when you talk about having internship on your resume, you just keep it in mind that it is not experience. Yeah, with respect to the knowledge you've gained, don't freak out if you don't have internships on your resume, because I personally didn't. So, but that still got me a internship and it still got me a job. So don't freak out like that. Just make sure that you have enough experience and knowledge that you've gained through your internships. That's what matters. Because just working in an office doesn't cut it. They just because you have an internship at a fancy place and you didn't, so many people got internships, didn't work over there, and then ultimately it didn't help them later. So even if you don't have internships, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. Just make sure you have a lot of knowledge that you've gained through your college, and different experiences will help you make up your one personality that you will show in the interview. So my like people skills experience came from the CI course, from the fest that I took part of. So yeah, so all I want to say is don't freak out if you don't have an internship.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that if you're doing something over the summer, do it how like it's helpful to you personally, because that's the time you don't have anything else to do. You just have to focus on your skills and how to build your knowledge. And if you want to like build your knowledge in college itself, like Harshita said, there are plenty of things, and there's CIE also, which also offers a lot of courses and a lot of internships in during the summer itself, and that will also help you gain knowledge and improve your skills. So you don't really need an internship in a corporate world as such, but if you have something that helps you build your knowledge and skills as well as build your resume, that's helpful.
Yeah, and there are some people who, if you would get to know amongst your peers itself, that there are some people who take up internships in second year, the summer over the second year, and then again in their third year. But personally, this is one advice that I would like to give, that your summer is one of the most crucial periods for anybody, for any college student. So if you personally feel that for yourself, upskilling is something that would rather help you than having a job experience at this point of time, then you should definitely look at only upskilling yourself and not get yourself into these freelancing jobs or just anything to get you by just for the sake of having it on your resume. I know it might sound very scary to see other people getting ahead of you doing internships, this that, but do not get stuck in this race where you feel like you're always feeling like you're being held back and running behind because other people are doing it, so I should also do it. If you're not at a position where you live up to what the job role is, even if it's a small internship, even if it's a freelancing contractual job, don't do it just for the sake of having it on your resume. It's not going to help you in any way. And like Harshita also mentioned, so even I haven't done any summer internships and not claimed any credits for it in college. So that doesn't necessarily mean that I do not have the skills to make it in any other companies which come for placements. So the way for you to gain the skills and the knowledge is that you apply the same just in a different direction. Don't look for it through a work experience, look for it through maybe learning experiences and building on a project on your own. That is something that actually helps you as a person, because individually you're trying to learn a lot by yourself. So try to do that, and don't just feel like you're being held back and running behind, because
Yeah.
that's not true. Having an internship is not the only criteria. Summer internship doesn't define whether or not you will be placed or not. So yeah.
Yeah, basically, like, don't have a herd mentality.
Yeah.
Don't ever get into anything. Oh, my friend did that, now I have to do this. Because whenever you start doing something like that, it'll never work out. Eventually, you'll exhaust yourself. You'll realize that you're not interested in it. First and foremost, see if it looks interesting, then only enter it. So yeah.
And like you can get to know if you're interested in something or no only by uh, working on it. So I think using the summer to know where your interest lies is also very important, just not through internships but through projects as well. So it's not really necessary to do summer projects and internships. Just build your skills and know where your interests lie.
Another point about sorry, Amol. Another point about these internships, you can even, let's say if you're not going to get them through college, there is a way out for y'all. You can go and ask your professors from any particular department of the college. They would have certain connections with different organizations or different companies. They would be able to provide you some help based on that. So you can just go approach them and tell them that you want to do an internship in XYZ company, and if you have any contact, please help me so in the same area. And I think they would be able to help you, because few of my friends as well from our department got internships through our teacher, and because he had contacts in different places such as IISc or GKVK or whatever that is, right? So it's basically your interest, and as I said, like, it will really help you if you do an internship in your field, because you will understand what you're studying better, not because you need to necessarily put it on your resume or get placed for it. So that's another thing I wanted to add.
Yeah, this might be slightly off topic, but I was just thinking I'd recommend everyone who does an internship, like anytime, to document it well, at least for yourself, because they're definitely going to ask about it in your interview, right? And you need to be ready to speak about it for like 2 to 3 minutes at least. Um, Harshita, can you please mute yourself? It's echoing. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. You need to be ready to speak about that for like 2 to 3 minutes. And it also helps the interviewer sort of get a sense of the kind of person you are. Like, if I am able to get into all the tiny details of the internship I did, they know that I was actually involved in my internship and I was actually doing something there. And if they were to hire me, I'd actually be invested in that. So yeah, document your internships well, and be ready to speak about it anytime.
One more thing which I would like to say, as everyone here told, it's not the end of the world if you don't get an internship in your summer. But right now, you know how the market is. If you get an opportunity, hang on tight. Don't let it go. If you're a mechanical engineer, you're getting anything above 7. If you're getting 8 LPA, that is brilliant in the current market. Take it. Please don't let it go. Don't let opportunities slip. There were a lot of people when TVS came, they didn't even apply. They wanted to have a good free summer, and I applied for TVS. I was the only person who got a summer internship from MEC in my, in my batch, and I was the first person. I got placed way before actual placement started. So I was placed months before a lot of companies started coming for MEC. So, that gave me an easy mindset for me to focus on other things. So if you're getting a chance, don't let it go. Really work hard. Try to get an internship. If not, it's not the end of the world. But work hard towards it. If that is what you want to do.
Okay, anything else? Okay. Okay. So the next question. How are we supposed to handle stress of college along with the other things?
Okay, yeah. I'd like to start if that's fine. So, how you're supposed to manage the stress of college with multiple other things? It basically, you have to admit at some point it is what it is. You have a task at hand. You have to commit commit your resources, your time, your efforts, whatever it is to finish that, right? It doesn't exactly become too hard if you work on it consistently. Like, okay, this might sound cliche, but you need to manage your time well so you can do your stuff consistently, right? I'm not really sure what the college timings are right now, but when we were still attending classes, it was 8:15 to 3:30, and most of us would get home by like 4:30. Let's say you go to sleep at like 11 or 12, that still gives you 6 hours to do other stuff, right? So use your time wisely to work on yourself. Um, Investing in yourself is probably the best investment that you can have. I also have this quote that really carried me for a long time. It gets easier every day, but you have to do it every day, and that's the hard part, right? So work consistently, and things will just flow, right? Trust the process. Nothing happens in one step. If if I were to just give you some sort of algebraic equation, let's just say, and you wouldn't get the answer in one step, right? You would follow like an algorithm, like a step by step thing, and that's essentially how it is. Just follow a step by step method. Also value your social life, your friends in college. Make sure you make really nice friends. um, and stay in touch with them. Take out time for them, because these are the days you're going to remember. Value your classroom life. It's been like what, 8 months or something since I was last in the classroom, and pretty much most of these guys on the panel, we used to see each other every day, but I don't remember the last time I saw any of these guys. So value your classroom life. You'll probably remember them later on, and that's pretty much it. Trust the process.
Yeah, to just add on to that, I wanted to sorry, I wanted to say that don't be let down by a rejection. It Take it as a learning point for you. Like you can analyze what went wrong there, that you can improve it for the next test or interview. It really doesn't have to be like, oh, my interview went bad and it was because of me. Just think that the company wasn't right for you, and you were, and don't think that you were not right for the company. And also, like, there will be, you will realize where you went wrong while giving the interview itself. So I think to analyze, to go back home and to analyze that is more important than feeling very sad about it. And like Amok said, your friends are the biggest support systems you can have at that time. And you can, and also peer-to-peer learning is the best form, and you can always learn something new from your friends. And this has also helped me that used to always rant to my friends about how my interview or some rejection went, and that helped me cope up with it. And yeah, you just analyze what went wrong rather than feeling very sad about it. And this will, and like it, maybe like you will have 5 6 more rejections than your friends, but that doesn't mean that you are not good or something. It's just not the right company for you, that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What?
I'm pretty sure everyone on this panel was rejected by some company at one point or another. But right now, where we are is, I mean, we're all in a good place, right? So rejection does happen, but eventually it does work out.
Yeah, what I wanted to say was that don't ever compare yourself with anybody. I went through this phase where all of my closest friends were getting placed, and I thought, oh, wait, maybe I'm not that good or anything. Don't doubt yourself like that. Comparing yourself with anybody never works out. You never know the whole story. So, and I get it that placement is a very, it's like a, of course, you're competing with all your friends and everybody. So you are in competition, but that doesn't mean that you be like, oh, you distance yourself from everybody and you don't talk to anyone. everyone here helped me get through very tough times. So, support each other even though you're competing for the same thing. Don't like make it ugly or anything. It's a beautiful time. College is a beautiful time. It's like a roller coaster, so enjoy it. And the couple of friends that you've managed to make, keep them on your side. You're all here for each other. And landing a job isn't the biggest achievement in life. That's what I've learned. That once you got the job or you're done, that's when the actual work starts. This, of course, was difficult, but surviving a job is 10 times harder than getting it. So, not to bring you down, but if you get placed early or whatever, if I'm not telling it to the person who's placed. If you look at someone who's placed earlier, don't demotivate yourself thinking, oh, their life is set. I've heard that so many times, bro, you got a job, your life is set. It's not, it's just starting. So not getting a job isn't the end of the world. You're in your 20s. That's what your 20s are for, to figure things out. So take one step at a time. Don't look at the whole ladder, just one step at a time. That's it. So
Yeah,
I would like
and
to.
like just Harshita said, she just mentioned that you don't have to be, in that rat race where you're just competing and comparing yourself with everybody else. The only competition that you should look at is yourself, because even if you were rejected in an interview, how do you make it better? How do you get out of that and not be stuck in the whole spiral of, oh my God, I was rejected and I cannot do this. I cannot sit through placements. I won't have a job. That's absolutely not true. You are competing with the previous version of you, and it's a battle that you have to fight with yourself every single day. So just make sure that you're getting above yourself every day. Every time that you're applying to a new company, it's a new you, new sort of things that you would like to implement and change from the past experiences that you've had. And as everyone on this call has mentioned, your friends are your biggest supporters. Like, there is the placement time entirely is one of the most, um, I don't know what exactly would be the term for it, but it's haunting.
Overwhelming.
Yeah,
It's
it's
very
haunting.
overwhelming.
It's
Yeah.
honestly haunting, because you look at everybody else getting placed and you feel like maybe you're not good enough and you're not cut out for this. That is the one thing that pops up in everybody's mind, that I will not be able to make through this. But that's absolutely not true. There is something in line for you for sure. If not in college, that's not where your life ends, right? You don't have to limit yourself to just getting a job over here. Maybe you can go study, go for higher studies, go outside, do something. That's not the end of your life. So just make sure you don't demean yourself and just think low of yourself. Don't lower your self-esteem just for the sake of a job. It does, your living depends on it, but it's not the only thing in your life. So yeah.
See, one thing is, find what works for you. So the way you study or the way you work is different from how everyone else does it. So a lot of people will tell you, be very focused, do things, in a particular way, and that is going to take you ahead. But I think, for me, I'm the chillest guy. I spend all the time just doing nothing or just hanging out with friends, um, just going out and just having a blast. But the 2 days when I study or when I'm working at something, it's done absolutely perfectly. And I'm very proud of that. So that is what works for me. But if you are someone who needs to systematically work and that is what is good for you, go ahead, but find what works for you. Each person has a different technique. Learn that. And as far as failures go, I'm sitting here right now, like, in college, I've sat for 2 interviews, I've cleared both the interviews. But before I joined college, I applied 4 times for NDA and TES, which is to join the Indian Army. And I'm still trying. So I went through the rejection of my SSB 4 times. And I had traveled all across the country for this. It's a 5-day interview. It's hard. You go through the procedure. And I didn't make it. The one thing which I can tell you is that you learn more from failures than when you succeed. I can tell you I've learned maybe 2% or 3% from the 2 interviews I've cleared. But my 4 failures have changed me as a person. So each failure which you have shouldn't be something which you are looking at it like, it's a bad mark on you. You should be proud about them. Those are the things which help you learn. Those are the things which will help you improve.
Yeah, I just like to add on what Kesha was saying. Failures are exactly what do improve you at some point, and don't feel demotivated because you're going through a tough time in life. It's bound to happen to everyone. You're not happy all the time, so it makes sense that you won't be sad all the time, right? This phase that you're going through, this tough phase, is also going to pass. And the problem that you're struggling with today, tomorrow when you look back at it, you're just going to look at it like one or two ways. One will be like you're just going to look back and laugh and say, oh my god, like, was I really stressed about such a tiny problem? So that's one thing. Tomorrow your problems will seem very small, and or the other way you could look at your problems tomorrow is with pride, and just think as I was able to get through that phase, and right, and I'm a much stronger person today, right? So your failures do teach you much more than your successes, right? I agree with that.
See, I would like to say one more thing. In PES, as of now, as of 2 days ago, we had another case where a student took his own life, and it's very sad. I would like to say that if you're someone who's going through things like this, if you're thinking about things like this, we are here for you. Just contact anyone, talk to your friends, talk to your family. Go to the Changemakers Society Instagram. My handle is right there. Come there, drop me a message, talk to someone. Just you're valuable as a person. Each person is unique. Everyone has their own skill sets. Everyone has their own value in society. Please don't go to such steps. It's really sad to see people do that. And yeah, so there are people for you in your life. Remember that.
Yeah, I do not want to sound repetitive, but adding on to the previous points, I think when I was introducing myself, also I mentioned about how I was part of like so many clubs. One advice that I would like to give all of you is please do not and extracurricular activities that you're doing. It's really not easy. Engineering is not easy. Like you have to study, and like it's not a piece of cake. So please do not join 1,000 clubs for the sake of it. I understand there's energy for you to try everything out, but please try and only join or be in clubs that actually make sense to you, where you think it's either going via your career path or something that you're really interested in, but don't bombard yourself with like 1,000 things to do and not being able to do any of it. I personally faced this, which was why I think I really wanted to come up here and share it with all of you. Learn how to prioritize really well. And apart from that, I think, as everyone mentioned, just stay along with your friends. I think a lot of your problems get solved instantly because there is someone supporting you throughout the way. And it's okay if you have a backlog in a subject. It does not mean you're bad. It's just that you probably have to learn more in the particular subject. So don't take it as a rejection. Try and see how you can come out of it best. And yeah, that's about it. Like just see how you can balance everything well in college. It's really hard. It's a difficult time. I get it, but you should see what best like really you can do so that you can make your time valuable. And what everyone mentioned throughout here is the same thing. Just as Kesha also mentioned, see what works for you best, and do not invest your time in something that does not really lead to anything, because the time that you're going to be spending in college is precious, and you wouldn't want to lose out on making memories or doing other things in the given time. So yeah.
And does anyone else want to add on? Okay, so for the last question, does not taking part in hackathons put you at a disadvantage of any type?
I would like to
Okay,
answer that question.
go
Um,
ahead.
so, you guys wouldn't believe how many hackathons I've attended throughout my college life. It's zero. I've attended zero hackathons, and I'm placed in two companies. See, the thing is, hackathons gives you exposure, gives you a lot of connections, and it's a good thing. Participate. It's always good to participate. It'll give you experience, and you'll have fun, tons of fun. But it's not the end of the world if you haven't participated in hackathons. In fact, especially in mechanical, I would say that it plays absolutely no role in your placement. I've hosted a couple of hackathons and I've hosted a couple of AT events. for my club, but apart from that, I haven't participated in anything. As long as you're involved in something, in whatever you're interested in, it's good enough. Be involved, but being a part of a hackathon and participating or winning or coming top 10, it's never the criteria for placements. So that is something which I have observed.
So I just
Yeah.
wanted to say again, like reiterating what I told before. Don't get into it because you see other people participating in it. First, see. Of course, be aware of what all is happening. If it's a genuine interest, then participate in it. But don't carry any regret. That's the main thing. Like uh, like 2 years down the lane, don't be like, oh, if I had done that, then they would have done this. Don't think too much into it. Just look, if competition is something that excites you, then please go ahead. I honestly have taken part in just 1 or 2 hackathons. They're pretty exhausting to get through, especially the 24 hours one where you have to stay in college throughout the night. I did it twice and I'm like, okay, I'm done with it. So there are always other competitions you can be a part of. But yeah, if you have not done it till now and you're towards the end of college, nothing to fret about as long as you have experience from other sources.
Yeah, I would like to add upon what both Keshav and Hashta said. I haven't attended a single hackathon either, but still, I mean, things still worked out for me. That doesn't mean I'm trying to demotivating. I'm trying to demotivate you from taking part in hackathons. Please go ahead. There's a hackathon every weekend in PES, right? Go. Even if you want to do one a month, that's fine. I feel hackathons, if you win, yeah, sure, you can put it on your resume, but it also kind of trains you on how to think. And it might just make you a better problem solver. And in your interview, if you're just given a question to solve on the spot, it might put you in a better place if you've attended a lot of hackathons before. But again, if you don't attend a lot of hackathons, that's fine too, as long as, like Hashita said, as long as you have something else to make up for it, it should be fine.
Okay. One thing that I wanted to add on about hackathon as well is I share the similar opinion. It really doesn't matter for your placements. But one thing that you need to know is if you're going for a particular hackathon because the name interests you or excites you, it's because you're going to meet people from the same technical background, or you're going to meet people who are working on the same problem statement that you're interested in, which means that you can either ways just network with them, which is a good thing because that is something that you want to work upon, and that is how you want to have your team ahead in the future for Capstone, or if that is how you want to go ahead with anything else, like let's say they have a startup or whatever. So networking is, I think, the only thing that is going to help you a lot from these hackathons, apart from the fact that you are going to participate in any of them. You obviously learn a lot more new skills and you have other professionals that you can learn it from as well. But it's absolutely not required for placement per se. No one is going to look into your resume and ask you what you did in this particular hackathon if it's not related to their job requirements. So, yeah. So, I
So
also
just
feel like,
yeah.
yeah, and I also feel like timed events also cut down a lot on your creativity. Not everyone will be used to thinking in a particular time frame and answering questions in, like, say 1 hour or 1 day or whatever. It's like restricting your thoughts. So that also is not such a good thing for most people. So yeah, whatever works for you, but that's my take on it.
Yeah, like Harshita mentioned, those 24-hour hackathons can be a little overwhelming, but again, it's just an experience. It's not something that you have to do and you must do. And like Rishika mentioned before, some hackathons outside college, like hackathons that a certain company organizes, can lead to a interview or a connection or a referral, but that is again a different thing, but that is not a hackathon specific thing. That can lead to some things, but it's again you're participating in a hackathon to get experience, to have fun, to build connections. It's nothing that you have to do it.
And also, everything isn't for your resume. There are so many things that you do throughout college which you won't be able to add into that one page. And you shouldn't, honestly. Like getting up things that are, oh, I was some subject topper in 12, 10. That's not relevant. Similarly, so many experiences throughout college putting in the resume have no relevance. They will help you personally. Like you may not be able to identify it, but later at the back of the mind, it will still be running. So you meet new people and all of that, but don't do everything just because it looks good on a resume. Because in so many cases, the interviewer won't even take a look at it, won't even care about it. So don't keep resume in your mind to do anything. Just do it.
Yeah, to just add to that, a resume more than one page is of no use because the recruiter won't turn the page at all. So if you can keep your resume for in one page, it's more than good. And like Harshita said, these hackathons are just for experience. Everything is not to put on your resume. So just have fun, I think, but like keep your resume short and on point.
Yeah, I think the point that Harshita made is really important because uh, any exposure is good exposure. And when you're in college, exposure is all that you should look out for. Even if you're not gaining any monetary benefits out of it, even if it's just the kind of learnings that you're taking away, at the end of the day, that is the biggest asset that you can possibly have. It's not going to be money when you're in college. That will of course come later on with the kind of skills that you build, but do not look out for these opportunities just for the sake of money. If you're gaining any sort of learnings from any place, just grab that opportunity, even if it's coming from a simple hackathon for that matter. So even if none of us over here have said anything which says that, we're not discouraging hackathons, we're saying that if it's something that you would like to do, then definitely go for it because it does teach you a lot. But if you're not into that, that's also okay because you have many more places to learn from. So yeah.
Anything else? Okay, so that was our last question for the talk. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for having us.
Thank you, guys.